Once upon a time, in a crowded railway station filled with the echoes of footsteps and the noise of trains, there lived a beggar named Robbie. Every day, he sat near the old iron bench by platform number 3, wearing a torn brown shawl and holding a small tin bowl that rattled with a few coins. The smell of roasted peanuts, the sound of the conductor's whistle, and the chatter of passengers were all part of his world. Robbie had lived like this for years. His days were the same, stretching out his hand, asking for a few coins, eating whatever he could buy, and sleeping under the dim yellow lights of the platform. Life had become a cycle of survival, not living. Yet, deep inside, he often wondered, is this all there is for me? Is this how my life will end, begging for scraps from strangers? But every time he tried to think differently, a voice in his mind would whisper, "You're just a beggar. Who would you ever become?" One humid afternoon, while trains came and went in clouds of smoke, Robbie noticed a man walking across the platform. The man was dressed in a clean gray suit. His shoes shined, his posture confident. He looked completely out of place among the rushing crowd. The beggar's eyes followed him. His neat tie, his polished briefcase, his calm smile. Robbie thought, this man must be rich. If I ask him for money, maybe he'll give me something big enough to eat well tonight. With hope flickering in his chest, Robbie stood up and approached the man. "Sir, please, just a few coins," he said softly, holding out his bowl. The businessman stopped. His eyes met Robbie's, not with pity, but with curiosity. After a brief silence, he asked, "Do you always ask others for things?" Robbie blinked, unsure how to respond. "Yes, sir. I am a beggar. I have nothing else." The man tilted his head. "Have you ever given anything to anyone?" That question hit Robbie like lightning. No one had ever spoken to him that way. People usually ignored him or threw coins his way. "I have nothing to give," Robbie stammered. "I survive by asking." The businessman smiled gently, but there was firmness in his voice as he said, "If you believe you have nothing to give, then you will always have nothing to receive. Life is an exchange. Giving and receiving are two sides of the same coin." Robbie stood frozen as the man walked away, his shoes clicking against the stone platform. He boarded the train, and within seconds, he was gone. But his words remained, life is an exchange. That night, Robbie couldn't sleep. The businessman's words echoed endlessly in his head. "If you want to receive, you must first give." "But what can I give?" he whispered to himself. "I have no home, no food, no money, nothing." The next morning, he sat quietly at his usual spot, thinking deeply. For the first time in years, he didn't beg. He just watched people, families hugging goodbye, friends laughing, porters carrying luggage. Life moved quickly around him, but he felt strangely still. Then his eyes fell on a small patch of ground near the tracks. There, between the cracks of old concrete, tiny flowers had bloomed, bright yellow and pink against the dull gray of the station. He stared at them for a long time. Something about their courage touched him. They had grown where no one thought life could exist. Suddenly, a thought bloomed in his mind. Maybe I do have something to give. The next day, Robbie woke up early, washed his face at the public tap, and walked to the patch of flowers. He plucked a few gently and placed them beside his bowl. That morning, when a passenger dropped a coin, Robbie smiled and said, "Thank you, sir. Please take a flower." The man looked surprised, then smiled and took it. "That's very kind of you." For the first time, Robbie felt something different. He wasn't just taking, he was giving. The rest of the day continued like that. Every time someone gave him money, he offered a flower. Some smiled, some even laughed with delight. A few people came back just to take another flower. At the end of the day, Robbie counted his coins and gasped. He had made almost 3 times more than usual. He looked at the flowers in his hand and whispered, maybe this is what the man meant." Weeks passed, and Robbie's small act of kindness became a habit. Passengers began recognizing him. The flower man of Platform 3. Some travelers even bought extra flowers to carry on their journeys. Robbie's heart felt lighter. For the first time in years, he smiled genuinely. But deep down, he still wondered about the businessman. Would he ever return? Would he see the change he inspired? Then one fine morning, the answer arrived. A train rolled into the station, and as passengers disembarked, Robbie's eyes widened. There he was, the same businessman, stepping onto the platform in his gray suit. Without hesitation, Ravi grabbed a few flowers and hurried toward him. Sir, please wait. The man turned, surprised. He recognized Ravi instantly. Ravi smiled proudly and said, "Sir, today I have something to give you." He held out the flowers with both hands. The businessman looked at them, then at Ravi. "So you remember our last conversation?" "Yes," Ravi said, his voice steady. "That day, your words changed my life. I realized I could not just take. I needed to give. These flowers, they're my gift to you." The businessman's face softened. He reached into his wallet, handed Ravi a note, and took the flowers. "You've learned something most people never do," he said. "Today, you are not a beggar. You're a businessman." Ravi's eyes filled with tears. The train whistle blew, and soon the man disappeared into the crowd again. But this time, Ravi didn't feel empty. He felt full. Months passed, and Ravi continued his work with passion. But something new grew within him, a dream. Every day, as more people stopped by his spot, he realized there was potential beyond the platform. He began saving small amounts from his earnings. He learned which flowers lasted longest, where to find them, and how to keep them fresh. Eventually, he used his savings to buy a small basket, then a few more flowers from the market. Soon, he wasn't just giving flowers. He was selling them, beautifully arranged with ribbons and leaves. People loved them. Even station workers began buying his bouquets. The once hopeless beggar had become a humble flower seller. 6 months later, something remarkable happened. A train pulled into the same platform, and a familiar man stepped out. The businessman once again. He spotted a small flower stall near the entrance, with a colorful sign that read, "Ravi's Blossoms, spreading smiles, one flower at a time." Behind the counter stood Ravi, wearing a clean shirt, arranging flowers with care. The businessman smiled and walked over. "You've come a long way," he said. Ravi turned and beamed. "Yes, sir. You taught me the greatest lesson of my life." "What lesson is that?" the man asked. Ravi looked around. The station, the flowers, the people smiling as they passed by. Then he said softly that we only receive when we learn to give. That our life changes the moment our thoughts change. "I was never really a beggar, sir. I just thought like one." The businessman nodded. "Exactly. You changed your mindset, and your world changed with it." They shook hands, not as beggar and businessman, but as equals. As the train whistle blew once more, the businessman stepped aboard, leaving Ravi standing tall, proud, and free. That evening, as the sun set behind the tracks, Ravi watched people carrying his flowers, children holding them like treasures, couples smiling as they boarded trains. His eyes glistened with gratitude. He whispered, "It wasn't the flowers that changed my life. It was my thoughts." For the first time, he truly understood what greatness meant. Not in wealth, not in fame, but in mindset. Ravi had discovered that life is not about what you have or don't have. It's about how you see yourself. Your life is a reflection of your thoughts. If you believe you have nothing to give, you will always remain empty. But if you see yourself as capable, creative, and worthy, life opens its arms to you. Change your thoughts, and the world will change with you. If this story touched your heart, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to believe in themselves again.